Alright, duplicate removal. Oof. You're fired. Okay. Just kidding. But I do have a note here from your supervisor. She's out sick today. But she says, it's time to eliminate inefficiencies. And that's it. Alright. Also, there's a gaping hole in the window and I feel like no one's acknowledging. Was that their last mission? Did I just ignore that last mission, or is that new? It's probably where, Clara fell out of. Was her name Clara? I forgot already. Yes, I'm scared of her too. Was she our supervisor and the robots threw her out the window and replaced her? Oh. Well, at least the coffee is good, you know? Send everything from the inbox to the outbox unless you've seen the same value before. Discard any duplicates. Fuck. There's like kind of two ways you could do this. Kind of. One is I could just place every single one on here one by one, but if there's a duplicate, throw it away, and then output all of that and at the end as one continuous thing. Or I could check each one by one and output them by just checking them against what I have so far, and then the list of things to compare them against will grow as the program goes on, but the earlier ones will escape faster, so it's probably better for speed. It also actually might be easier to program. What I can see right off the bat is we need step. It doesn't get easier. It really doesn't. Step. And I need max. Which is probably what you might call index or something like that. My understanding is that the way that hard drives work in computers is that, like, indexing is necessary for, like, everything. Basically, there's almost like an address book in your computer that tells your program. I was like, yeah, your computer tells your computer. Oh, whatever. I'm gonna use really shitty language that doesn't fit together right or whatever because I don't know the right word for everything. But basically, there's an address in your computer that tells your computer, like, where all the files are in your computer, essentially. And you kind of need to have, like, that in order to navigate it, in part because, like, when you delete stuff from your computer, as far as I'm aware, like, that part of your hard drive doesn't go blank. It just de-indexes that information. It ignores it. It's like, alright, all that data that's there, we're just gonna pretend it's not there now. And so it's actually still there, to some extent, but the moment it's not indexed, now it's available for overwrite. So it's like having quote-unquote free space, which, because it functionally is free space, so that whenever it's writing new programs, or writing any new data, or temp files, or whatever the fuck, it'll overwrite any available overwritable space that's not currently indexed as being, you know, a current program. This is good and bad for data security reasons at times. There's some... It's been a point of hope and dismay for me at times, because I'll, like, delete a Let's Play file accidentally that I wasn't supposed to delete yet, or something, or some other thing will happen, and you'll have that scary thing of, like, oh my god, maybe we can do a recovery tool to get it back because it's technically still on the hard drive as long as it doesn't get overwritten, but it might be corrupted because even if a tiny piece of it's overwritten at all, then it's corrupted now and you're fucked. Like, there's that whole recovery tool thing, then that's possible because the data is actually still on your hard drive until it's overwritten. But that's the downside too, is, like, for data security reasons, like, that means that, like, stuff you think you've deleted, it can still be on your hard drive for X amount of time, maybe. And so sometimes people can get at that stuff even when you think it's gone, and so on. It's it's just a whole weird thing. Sorry. Ah. That one snuck up on me. I'm not sick. It's just, like, weird. I don't even know what to call it. I don't know. part of the speaking and talking experience while also drinking things along the way. And unless you exclusively drink water all the time, which I usually drink, just random surprise other effects can happen. That's more or less some of the idea. But what we're getting at here is I'm having to like keep track of my own index because I'm gonna have a growing buffer of data, and so I need to keep track of how far that buffer goes so that I can tell the computer to stop when it needs to stop, basically. And so my way of doing that is going to be to have max, which is my current amount of data, basically. That's my idea. We'll see. First of all, copy from 0, which we're going to call 0. Yeah. Wow, that's a really bad one. I have really good ones sometimes where I feel better about it, and then ones where I really don't feel good about it. We're going to copy that to step. We're going to copy that to max. So right now, step and max are both at 0. Maximum being 0 means that that's how far we go, basically. Ah, man. Cross-comparing that is going to be a nightmare. I think I'm going to have a sequence where I pick up step and I subtract max from that to see if they're equal, and if they're equal, then I stop iterating on step and I reset back to 0. Yeah. I'm almost certain that there are people who are actual programmers that have been trained in like a methodology for doing this that is just smarter, but I have no idea what to do with it. To try to explain the idea, because it's hard to grasp if you don't already know what I'm talking about, basically. Like, it's very comparable to math. Like, imagine if you had a tree trunk and you wanted to calculate how big it was, but you had 0 concepts of algebra or geometry or anything like that. You could do it, technically. You could, like, in your caveman approach could be to carve out a little cube that is in all directions, like 1 centimeter in every direction, and you're like, I know how big this cube is. This is a 1 cubic centimeter cube. And then maybe you would like just keep carving out cubes of the tree until it was gone, that were all 1 centimeter in size, and then count how many centimeter cubes you made, and that's how big the tree was. Like, you would be technically correct. Like, you could be technically correct, but anyone who knows anything about like even really basic area calculations knows that there is incredibly faster and more efficient ways to do that. But you kind of have to be taught some of that stuff. You can't, it's hard to just whip that shit up on your own. That's how I would compare what I anticipate some of my programming solutions are like, is that I am cavemaning my way into some of these solutions where it works. In fact, it might even be a robust program that won't break because it's very, very thoroughly designed to do the thing it's supposed to do, and it's actually perfect on that level, and that it does work. But the stuff on the right side of the screen will be a nightmare spaghetti mess, and the program will take way too long to do it, and so on and so forth. That's what I mean when I talk about like good programming versus what I might be doing in some of these cases and all that stuff. I'm just gonna call this one inbox, I guess. Doesn't really matter what I call it. I just need to have a clear one that's like, that's where I'm putting the one that I got from the inbox. Okay, so no inbox, copy to inbox, boom. So now where the checking begins. Oh man. I'm also gonna have a specific system. I'm just thinking ahead about how crazy this is gonna get. In addition to everything else, I'm gonna have to also make sure that if I get to the end of the string and there was never a duplicate, I then need to add to the string. So when I compare max and step, I'm not gonna be doing an if 0. I'm gonna have to subtract. I'm gonna have to pick up step and subtract max from that and do if negative, because that means I have then gone beyond the string, at which point I will then put down what I have as the next part of the string and iterate on max. Whew. Okie dokie. Haha. Alright, shit. Yeah, copy to inbox. Oh boy. So we're going to... God, this... I have a lot of things to consider at once, and I'm trying to figure out which order to do them in, basically. Let's do... subtract... step. And then we're gonna have to do duplicate. So jump if 0 will be duplicate. Otherwise, jump straight past that and continue. I was thinking, do I just jump to the beginning when it's duplicate? But no. I can't just jump to the beginning because I have to reset it. No. No, resetting's built into the beginning, copied from 0 and set to step and max. Okay, so I actually don't need to do any of that. Just jump if 0, start over. Just start over if sub equals... if... yeah. Just when I subtract sub, if the result is 0, that means that there's a duplicate, so we just throw it away. That's it. Okie dokie. So continuing on, this means it's not a duplicate. Now, what I need to do is I need to iterate everything, so... what's in my hand right now is useless to me, it's just the garbage result, so we're done with that. I think this is where I bump up step. So I bump up step to the next thing, and then I need to check that versus max. So now I have an increased step, and I'm going to subtract. Do I need to pick up max first? I think I want to, yeah. So copy from max, subtract step, because step's the one that's going to become the larger number when I get to the end of the string. Go beyond the end of the string. So if I go beyond the end of the string, due to step being the larger number, that's when we do a jump if negative. Otherwise, we're going to loop probably. Probably back to the beginning. Not there. We have to add a copy from inbox because of the looping nature of everything. Alright, so the sequence will be... the normal sequence will be to copy from inbox, subtract it from where step's directing to, and then... if it's 0, then we're like, oh, throw this out. But if it's not 0, we then bump up step, then compare it against the max to see if we're at the end of the string yet. So that's all good so far, I think. We subtract step, and that compares them, sure. And if it's not negative, that means there's more string to go. So we're gonna then go back to the beginning, copy from inbox, and compare it to the next one, and do the thing again. And we'll keep doing that till we get to the end of the string. That's what that jump back does. But... and this is going to be the end string. Just going to call it end, because fitting end string is a lot. But this is when we reach the end of the string. Technically, we're beyond the end of the string. What we're going to do is we're going to copy from inbox, copy to where step is pointing to. And then we're going to bump up max. and that's how you index, more or less. On some primitive level, at least. You copy from inbox, you add that to the end of the string, you increase the length of the string, yeah, you copy from inbox, you take it to where a step is currently pointing to, which is beyond the current length of the overall index. Then you make sure you increase the index count to now account for that. So now it'll only put the letter down if you get beyond that point again. Cool. But also, because we're doing that, because we reached that far, that means it was successful. That means we then want to copy from inbox and outbox it, because that was a success. That's more efficient. Copy from inbox, copy two-step, outbox. Now my hands are blank. Then we bump up max. That's one less instruction. I caught an inefficiency. I'm very proud of myself for not entirely deserved reasons. So now so that was the good ending. There's the bad ending of this visual novel, is that you find a duplicate and you just start over. This is the good ending, which is that you outbox it and increase a max, and you store the new value. At which point then you loop back again through morphogenetic fields. Great. Let's find out how I fucked it up. I can't wait. Woohoo! Hee hee! Haha! Woohoo! What am I gonna do about that? Okay, so yeah, they're all blank, so I can't subtract from them when there's nothing there. I could do an initialization, like a boot sequence, basically. We usually do stuff where we're just looping, which is that we're kind of running a program that's in progress. But I could do a primer, like a boot sequence, a thing where we set up. That may not be the worst idea. Yeah. Sure. Copy from 0. Copy to 0. Copy to 1. Copy to 2. Copy to 3. Copy to 4. Copy to 5. Copy to 6. Copy to 7. Copy to 8. Copy to 9. Copy to 11. 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That should be good. That would set it up so that these are all zeros, which means that there's no empty value problem. This is very inefficient, mainly the part where I did an individual line of text for each one. I could use step and max to carefully do it to the end of the string and then stop. Although that actually might be a little hard because our values are stored here too, and it might just keep going until everything was 0. Which actually wouldn't necessarily matter. I could just keep making it go up by 1 until, yeah, you could technically make it do it. The problem is that it'd have to self-check, so the difference here, I think this is actually a good example of the difference between command count and speed. This is a lot of command count right here, and it's inefficient programming on my part, because it's brute forcing my way through setting this up. But the alternative is to have a really convoluted sequence where it's checking each one by one until it does the right number of making everything 0. And then that itself would be like a really, like, that would be maybe fewer lines of elegant code, but it would take a lot of self-checking and indexing like this stuff was doing. And that might not be any better either. I don't know. The important thing is that I can just do this and be like, fuck it, you're all zeros now. And I think that might fix my problem. I feel dirty. It's great. Inbox. A. You can't sub with mixed operands. Subbing between one letter and another is invalid. Only nice, respectable pairs of 2 letters or 2 numbers are allowed. Shit. Also... bigoted? No. Okay. So you're not allowed to do that? I think I can fix this, but it's even dumber. Okay, let's do this. Gross. I feel gross. Alright, so inbox, copy to inbox. Num box is what I'm gonna call it. It's the number version of your inbox. Let's finish that little circle off better. I'm gonna do copy to inbox. Copy to numbox. Then I'm gonna bump up numbox and bump down numbox, which I think makes it a number. And so now you can't fuck with me. Now it just is a number, and so now I just gotta do copy from numbox. Make all my inbox. Oh no, but the end one has to be inbox. That might have fixed it, or it might be fucking stupid. I don't know. All I know is we gotta skip this part. Alright, so let's see if I can bump a number. You can't bump a letter? I said number, didn't I? You can't bump a letter? What would that even mean? We've acknowledged that they're numbers. You can subtract letters from each other, and they become numbers as a result. They don't become... Okay, now I'm actually having a little... I'm a little frustrated right now, because I feel like the logic here doesn't actually work. If we can't mix letters and numbers, then shouldn't subtracting letters from each other give you other letters? Right? Like, if you subtract, like, B and X from each other, or whatever the fuck, it should give you, like... I can't think of... I literally... I don't know why I can't start doing reverse alphabet right now for some reason. If you take, like, Z and subtract X... if you take Z and subtract B from it, shouldn't you get X? But instead, you'd get, like... 24 or something was like what was happening earlier. They were giving you a number as a result of subtracting letters from each other. So why can't we mix letters and numbers? Apparently every letter is just a number, but with a letter tag on it or something that makes it read as a letter. They're not mutually exclusive. We've shown that. All right. I don't know, blah. Thinking about it. Might take a little while. I've got to think of, like, what does this game want me to do? How do I compare letters with each other? I'm just, how do we prime this? Because I can't compare... You're not allowed to compare letters to nothing. Which is frustrating? I feel like you should... I'm trying to think of, like, what programs even work this way. Because, like, admittedly, I do the most programming in my day-to-day life in Microsoft Excel. In that, yeah, you do write algorithms to make stuff happen in, you know, spreadsheets. And that's, like, the primary time I use logic and programming nowadays, because I don't program, but I use spreadsheets plenty, especially during, like, the Patreon stuff and everything to tally votes. And if you subtract a blank field, that just means you just don't subtract, because you're subtracting 0, basically. But this game does not default to assuming 0, which means I've got to figure out, like, how else to prefer that kind of shit. Alright, I'm back from a lunch break. I got a new cup of coffee, which I probably should drink soon because it's actually losing the heat and is starting to get into drinkable territory instead of scalding murder territory. And I'm thinking I might have a better idea. I don't know why I'm labeling this. Ugh. It is kind of nice to label things. Difference between the boot sequence and other stuff. I might have the right idea with the boot sequence, it just might not be this boot sequence. There we go. Because I believe it's only going to be subtracting from existing fields, right? It's only going to be subtracting from the fields I've dealt with in the past. And the one time we go into a new territory when it's growing, that's when we just see like, oh, we're out of the territory, let's place it. I don't think it's going to check it against it. So I think if I can resolve the 0 situation, the program problem that I have just goes away. So instead of coming up with a whole fix for how do I subtract them from each other and stuff like that, let's get rid of that. First of all, let's get rid of, shit. Here's a better idea. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The labels stay there, interestingly. The smart thing was to copy it. There we go. And go to another tab. And then paste it. There we go. If I'm gonna make changes, let's not delete everything. Admittedly, I don't think this part's good, so I probably didn't need to bring it back necessarily. But I need to get rid of the whole numbox situation. Let's see. So get rid of copy to numbox. We're getting rid of that. Getting rid of bumping numbox. Then we have to get rid of the copy from numbox because that has to be inbox again because we're removing numbox. Because that whole system, I don't think that's actually a solution for my problem. So I believe I've removed all references to numbox from my formula. So that's back to normal. Cool. Let's work on my new boot sequence then. So we'll go to inbox. I think I need to rewrite the beginning of the loop so that it can work better at the beginning. Which isn't the worst, because I can then jump past the beginning of the loop the first time as we enter the equation, but then it'll do the loop after that point. Let's see. So copy from 0, copy to step, copy to max. Let's do all that. Then go to inbox, and then we're gonna copy to 0 and copy to inbox. So it's the same sequence, right? 0, step, max, inbox, and then copy to 0, copy to inbox. That more or less works, I believe. Copy to inbox might not be necessary. Because here's the important thing about the first thing. The first thing can't be a duplicate. Yeah, the first thing can't be a duplicate. So let's just put it in 0, fuck inbox, outbox that shit. Just copy it to 0, because it's not a duplicate, because it's the first one. And then outbox it. And then... And then, let's see, max is going to start out as 0. And max starting out as 0 actually makes sense now because there is something in 0, so that's fine. I think I just then looped. I think I then jump from there to the inbox sequence of the second step. I don't need to reinitialize this because it's all currently 0 anyway. But now... Right, I didn't have to process any of that stuff yet because... Okay. Now, let's... we can drag it down here. It's fine. In fact, we don't need to jump at all. I can just get rid of all these. Yeah. Yeah, no. These 3 steps are all I needed. I didn't need a whole complicated thing that sets it up in advance, because I can just continue forward from here. So we'll grab the first thing from the inbox, we'll copy it to 0, and we'll throw it away. Because it's the first thing we're putting in our index. And then the sequence just starts. Grab the 0, put it on step and max to initialize the loop, grab the next thing in the inbox, and we copy to the inbox field and we start the whole checking process. I think I fixed it. But I went on a break, so I'm a little slightly less familiar with this program a little bit now, which is always the scary thing. So hopefully nothing goes wrong. Yeah, the first thing you just go, because the first thing just is already not a duplicate no matter what. That's not a fear. So we're checking those against each other and we're like, hang on, that's not... Yeah. Boom. There it goes. We found that we're on 1 past max, so it added it to the buffer. Oh, it was so close to being fixed already. That's what happens, apparently. The change can be so small that fixes everything. It's just that you need to fucking find it. So that time C was a duplicate, so it stopped. Yeah. C was a duplicate, so it just threw it away and grabbed the next thing from the inbox after setting everything to 0 again. Now we got a new letter. Fuck. Problem. It overrode the D. I should have stopped this a long time ago. I don't know why it took so long to stop it. We gotta debug this shit. Alright, so... Copy to... step. It's going to copy it to step. Okay. I need to make step go up by 1, I guess? That's not a big deal. Bump... step. I need to go in the next thing so that it goes to where the max is. Or no. No, that's not the thing, is I need to copy to... max. That was the point. Okay, so I referred it to the wrong thing. So when we get in one that's not a duplicate, it was writing it to step instead of max, which means it wasn't going to make progress forward, where it needed to copy it to max because it's the current maximum. I think that should be fine now. So see. Okay, see, now you're fucking it up again. Let's see. Right. Bump the max first. We have to increase. It's going to the maximum field, but we have to increase the maximum field before we do that. Otherwise, it's just going to put it on the last digit. Whoops. All right, so C goes in there. So this should. So E is a new one, so it should go in the new slot. E. Okay, now D should go in the new slot, right? No! Why did that happen? So max is currently set to 1. The first thing that got put down was the automatic one. That went to there. Then max was set to... I've lost track a little bit. How'd that happen? So C... Okay, so right now max is not set to 1. So let's go to when E was put down in the first place. Max becomes 1. Correct. Oh! Oh. You dumb. Oh, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Why was I having max reset every loop? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any... Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I was, no, it was because I was doing something from the previous puzzle, right? The previous puzzle we were doing strings. And so since we were doing strings, I would then have to reset after each index. So I automatically included max in that part. But no, max has to be set to 0 at the boot, and then never touched again besides the iterating. Like, you don't set it back to 0, dummy. That was stupid. Alright, so hopefully that fixed everything now. So yeah, that's dupe, so it's gonna go away. B is not a dupe, so it's gonna go in slot 1, right? Right? Cool. Now B is a dupe, so throw it away. Now C is a dupe, so throw it... Wow, that's a lot... Wow, that's a lot of dupes. It's gonna take a while to get to that E over there. There we go. Yay! It's interesting that it does in fact have to come up with an average in this game. It has to come up with like the number of steps this would take on average, which that means it has to run additional simulations or something, or have some other better way of testing what you're doing. Because yeah, the puzzle will take a different amount of time based on what you get in the inbox, which is random. Like, this is just 2 letters repeating, for example. Where that's 4 letters. C, B, E, A, I, D. C... Yeah, C, B, E, A... Yeah, that's 5 letters. There we go. I'm not gonna lie. I made this whole goddamn program. I want to have a more satisfying output than an index of 3 letters after all that work. So I did just start rebooting it specifically to get something, a better test that makes me feel better about myself. It's small things. Yeah, C-bead. That's new channel slogan. Bro, do you even C-bead? Doesn't even it doesn't work on any level. The important thing is I came up with a solution. Also, tragically, our poor little man... I just want to point out our poor little man is, like, ill. The passage of time in this game is actually literal, as far as I can tell. I mean, I always thought that anyway, but it's reinforced by the fact that, like, hey, look, year 35. Look at the little guy. Look at the little guy. I think I can go back to the beginning and look at him back then. Yeah, look at him. Oh, he looks so happy and young and full of energy and has blue hair and stuff. And now he's an old man. Oh man.